We are on. Me? Yeah, I'm good. I'm really good. Thank you for asking. Yon, I am again on a nice Sauvignon Blanc. Hey mate, how you doing? Yeah, that sounds disgusting. I'm sorry, but it just does. Yeah. Oh, you're talking to a man here who can't even. Well, no, I don't like cherries. Your sound is No, I mean I can. Your levels look good here. All right, let's have. See, actually, yes. Just keep speaking. Right, hold on a second. Hold on a sec. See, this is my fault. This, isn't it? Right, hold on. It's we got.
I'll try the
Hey,
sign language.
there you go. You're on. You're on.
Where am I on now? I'm on.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So none of you heard any of that. None of you. We only just went live 2 seconds ago. Good evening, Rekin Krew. This is virtually Rek't. I'm Shuey from PowerOnVR. This is Mac from Mac in VR.
Fucking incompetent idiot. Oh dear. Yes. So what happened there was I didn't have my speaker switched on, which means that they could hear me but not you. Well, they could hear you through my mic, but
no, that's fine. We are good to go. We are happy. We are moving forwards as always.
okay.
If things do not go right, you just push on and hope for the bloody best.
You do.
So Mac,
Yes.
you've got some absolutely phenomenal news. What is it?
Okay. Right. I don't know if people are aware, but I am a firefighter for County Durham and Darlington Fire and Rescue Service, and I am retiring at the end of this month, though because of holidays I have actually finished. So in my retirement...
So what he's saying is he could have just said he's retired, but he's made it difficult.
Yes. Okay, I've retired. My official retirement date is 28th February, but basically I'm done. So my plan is to go full-time on YouTube.
So what does that actually mean for everyone, Mac? Literally speaking, what does that mean?
It means that I don't have to do night shifts and day shifts and then drag my sorry, tired ass into the man cave to make content. It is now my job. So what it means going forward is that there will be regular content and there will be a Monday stream every Monday and there will be a Thursday stream, and every other week, as long as you're not on night shift or something, there will be the Virtually Rek't podcast.
Yeah, which means that we're going to have more Mac content overall, which is just fucking gravy to me.
It is. Now we talked about this before we started, and like being a content creator on YouTube. Excuse me. Being a content creator on YouTube is amazing. You know, basically you play games and you get paid to do it. Who'd have thunk it? But if you work 40 hours a week, and then do 30 or 40 hours a week on your YouTube channel, it does get a little bit tiring.
Yeah. Yeah. So the thing is Mac, you've been doing shifts, same as I do shifts for my job. Like my working schedule has me doing like 2 12-hour shifts followed by 3 12-hour shifts, and then like a couple of days off. And like, so consequently, by the time you've gotten over doing 24 hours worth of work, you recover for one day, you spend some of that writing and developing your content, and the next day you spend playing and recording and editing that content in the hope that you can get a video out over those 2 days. And you do this on a repeating cycle, and that is exhausting as a content creator.
It is, absolutely. So like for my particular example, as a firefighter, I was working 2 11-hour day shifts, followed by 13-hour night shifts, followed by a period of time off. They say 4 days, actually 3 days, but there you go. So obviously when I'm on day shifts, I couldn't do anything because my job was quite physically demanding, and you get home and all you want to do is have your dinner, have a glass of wine and go to bed. But the next day I didn't start work until 6 p.m. So I would work on my channel, then I would go to work, I would do my night shift, then I would come home, then I'd take the dog for a walk, go to the gym, do whatever. And then I would go back to working on my channel, and then I would go on night shift. And then at the end of all that, I was wondering why I was walking around looking like one of the Walking Dead. Basically.
Yeah, so with that in mind then, you've retired, you have had 48, 72 hours worth of actual, like, not work time actually in the retirement headspace, and what happened?
On my second day as a Facebook, I might give the fucking game away. My second day as a YouTube content creator, at 8 o'clock in the morning, I got banned from Facebook, which means I lost access to my Meta Quest 2 headset and all my games. Bugger.
Yeah.
No explanation as to why. And this is part of the problem. Yeah, so...
Hang on, Mac. I don't think anyone can see us on the live stream. I think they can hear us. I don't think they can see us.
No, no, the live stream seems to be working okay.
I'm just saying because I'm looking at the stream and I can't see it. But if that's the case and it's just me that can't see it, then fair enough. But people, if you can't see us, shout out. Otherwise, we'll just push on because I obviously am talking out of my arse. No, they can see us. Okay, so I have no idea why this isn't showing it to me then.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I don't know. Everybody else seems to be okay.
No, I can never see your live stream properly. It's just me. It just doesn't like me. Anyway,
maybe it's because you're in the live stream and you're watching yourself in the live stream, and that causes a sort of
cognitive dissonance. Yeah.
Split in the whole sort of space-time continuum. Yeah. So basically, when you're watching yourself, you're creating multiverses.
I just like to have it on in the background in order to try and keep an eye on things.
Yeah.
But as it turns out, mine doesn't like it, so who cares? Never mind, it doesn't matter if I can't see it. As long as you guys can see and hear us, everything's great.
Well, Mark Alexander's here, Crash is here, Weeble's here, Rift Traveller Harry's here. We've got Dancing Man. Dancing Man is my mate Rob, who I used to work with. So how you doing, mate?
Hey, Rob. How's it going, dude?
He is a firefighter as well, and he is a fucking legend. We've got Henry.
Skeever.
Reby. Yep, Skeever's here. Okay.
Okay, then.
Yeah, so Facebook.
You got, Facebook. And, well, is it counted as Facebook? Like, in this particular case, is it actually Facebook, or is it Meta that is causing the issue?
My Facebook account got suspended. No, it didn't get suspended. It got disabled. It said you are now no longer eligible to have a Facebook account, which is a bit weird because it's a free thing that you can just sign up for. So, I mean, I do actually have a video coming out on this particular subject tomorrow, so keep an eye on the channel. It'll be out at 6 o'clock tomorrow. So I don't want to go into too much detail, otherwise I'll take my feet away from underneath myself. Yeah, so basically I woke up on Tuesday morning. My account was disabled. I tried to log into Facebook. It said you are ineligible for a Facebook account, and this decision is final.
That's insane.
It's crazy, right? So luckily the Oculus side of it is a little bit less harsh, because Oculus say, you get an email off Oculus that says your account has been suspended. If you feel it's been suspended, accidentally, then please contact Oculus support. There's a link, takes you straight to the page. You type in what you need, and then the progression goes from there. So Facebook is like, you're done. But Oculus are a little bit softer. They say, yeah.
Can you imagine, right, if you were playing Call of Duty Warzone on an Xbox or a PlayStation 5, and you called someone a bellend, and they got so bent out of shape that they reported you. Now, that probably happens quite a lot, that they get bent out of shape and they report you.
Oh,
but
I've lost your camera.
It'll come back. iRuin's a bit sort of... Why is that doing that? I'll sort that out. But yeah, can you imagine...
It's because Max said.
Yeah, it's because Max said. Can you imagine if people got so bent out of shape? There we go. That should fix it. That they reported you, and then your entire Xbox got banned.
Yeah.
Which is that's what we're talking about here, isn't it?
It is,
the equivalent of what we're talking about here.
So, I played a lot of Call of Duty, and I called people much worse than bell ends. But I never.
You do. In the moment, you do.
Yeah, you do, because you're excited. If you're like me, you're competitive. I've called people the C word, the F word, the B word. I've called people words I actually made up. I actually called somebody a fuckudder once, I think. I don't even know what a fuckudder is. But yeah, so if you got banned from Call of Duty for you've been abusive, banned for 24 hours. Yeah, that's fair enough. But for them to go, you've been abusive, you're banned from your Xbox or your PlayStation. It's like, I beg your pardon?
Because that's what we're talking about, right?
It is. The
Oculus is a console. It's not just a headset. It's an actual console.
Yeah.
It contains, essentially, or allows us to play all of our games. And if our account is banned, then yes, theoretically, we could start up a brand new account, which, by the way, because this is what my wife said to me, would he be able to open up a brand new account just to have for your games and things on Oculus? Well, no, you can't, because that's against the community guidelines to have a fake account, essentially. Because from the community guidelines perspective, it is one account per identity.
Yeah. Yeah,
as in
absolutely.
Not just you, but per identity.
Yeah.
Which means that all of your games are subject to what you could possibly say on their service, on their platform. And if you say something that Facebook don't like, that's cause for you to lose thousands of pounds worth of games potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. I sort of make the comparison that so imagine you go to Walmart in America or Curry's in the UK or whatever it's called these days, and you bought a television, right? You bought a Sony television, 65-inch HDR, 4K, all the bells and whistles, cost you £1,000, right? So you get home and Sony say, we need an email address. Yeah, fair enough. Riddler diddler, put an email address in. And then you start watching your television, and then all of a sudden, ba-doop, you have violated Sony's terms and conditions. And they brick your telly. Which is essentially what Oculus have done to me. They've bricked my games console or my television. It's gone. I've heard about it happening to people, but I was like, whatever. But when it actually happens to you, it's a proper, almost physical blow. Oh, Skillex is in as well. All right, mate, Skinx. Skillex, I got banned for a year on Facebook for posting nudity.
Which is also insane. Even if, like, he says that it was a meme about a guy on a couch, fully clothed, that said "Hero in 2020," fine. But the fact that their terms and conditions are so stringent and based on how much butthurt somebody is going to suffer from whatever you post.
Yeah. Because
let's face it, if no one reported you, but thousands of people saw it, no one's going to care. They're not going to ban you for that because they're not scanning everything for everything.
Yeah. Right. This is one of the problems I have, is that basically I use my Facebook account like it was supposed to be used as a social media account. So all of my posts are me and my wife out with the dog, or me having dinner, and that is basically it. I don't get involved in any right-wing groups. I don't post abuse. It's just basically a way of me keeping in touch with my friends and family. And for the past 12 years, obviously when we've been on holiday, we've posted pictures. And I've been to Italy, I've been to Croatia, I've been to China, I've been to Cambodia, I've been to Vietnam, I've been to Malaysia, I've been all over the world, and all those memories, they're gone. So not just my quest and my games, it's all those memories as well.
The one thing I will say about that is I did see somebody post on your Twitter about that, and the idea, and they're not wrong, that you can actually put in a GDPR request that should be able to get some of that back. But the point is, that's besides the point. The point is, this shouldn't have happened.
No,
because
it shouldn't.
There's nothing that was on there that should have actually caused you any issues. But this is the thing I was going to move on to slightly as part of this. And it's not necessarily VR focused. Excuse me. But going into the idea that we're moving away from tethered headsets for the most part, because we are, aren't we? Everybody wants a standalone headset.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wants one of these crazy Linux devices, like either it be the Oculus, the Meta Quest, or the one that people are talking about from Valve, where it's going to be essentially a Steam Deck that's built into the headset. Everyone wants this. So here's the thing: who owns it? Because is this going to end up as a similar situation to the Nintendo situation, where the actual company essentially still own your hardware and get to dictate what the fuck you do with it?
Yeah.
Because Nintendo, you're not allowed by their terms of service to modify their hardware, even though you've purchased it. You're not renting it from them. This is a piece of thing that sits in your... Like, I've got 2 or 3 Nintendo Switches in my house.
Right.
I consider myself to own all of those.
Yes, yeah.
Nintendo don't. Nintendo think they own it.
So you gave them money, but they still owe it. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, so essentially that's what's happened with Facebook. They sell this headset at a loss. There's absolutely no fucking doubt about that, right? No doubt. They'll probably sell Cambria at a loss. They make money by selling your data. So I think we spoke about it 2 weeks ago when Facebook lost $230 billion in one night, overnight, on the stock exchange. Mark Zuckerberg himself lost $31 billion, which is in one day, and that is the GDP of Estonia over a year, right?
It had to be Estonia, didn't it? Like, of any other nation that it could have been, it had to be Estonia that it happened to fit with.
I'd love to
and
go
if
to.
you're
I'd
British
love to go to.
And you like sort of comedy from the 80s and 70s, then Estonia comes up a lot in those.
It does, yeah.
If you're not British, you won't get it, and that's fine.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, I didn't. We didn't want to make this. We didn't want to make this about Facebook because, I've been banned for 3 days now, nearly. I don't know whether I'm going to get my account back. I've done all the right things to get my account back. We'll see how it goes. I don't hate Facebook. I don't hate Meta. I love the headset. I love the games. I love the fact that they're really pushing VR forward. I'm uncomfortable with the fact that 60% of all Steam VR headsets are now Oculus branded headsets. That worries me because that's getting towards
monopoly.
Sorry, the police have decided to fly over my house in a helicopter. Yeah, that's getting towards a monopoly, and that does worry me.
And it should.
Yeah, but we have there are other big companies that are trying to get involved in the metaverse and VR. Like, for example, I don't know if you know, but ByteDance, who own TikTok, have actually bought Pico.
Yes, I did hear about this.
Yeah,
I'm excited about this.
Yeah, because
that has its own worrying aspects to it, though, right? Like, at the end of the day, it is. Are we happy? This isn't. I'm not trying to jump on the political or the racist side of anything here, right? But we know that TikTok are a Chinese-based company.
Yeah.
Are we happier or equally happy or less happy having a Chinese company have access to our data in comparison to, I mean, I want to call them American because they essentially are, but they're not quite. They are more worldwide as Meta.
Yeah.
Like, both of them, in my opinion, are just as bad as each other.
Yeah. Now, see, we're going back to the Facebook losing all that money. If you're not aware of what happened, Apple did an update to their iOS, and they basically said you can opt out of tracking data on the phone, right? Not apps, the phone. So no apps can track any of your data on your phone if you say no. And my wife did, and she said, "Well, I don't get adverts on Facebook," and I was like, "What?" So I started to look into it, and yeah, sure enough, my wife, she clicked the "I don't want to be tracked." She doesn't get adverts on YouTube, or not that she uses YouTube, Facebook, any of her social media. And that was a smart move by Apple, because people are increasingly concerned about it, as we are in this podcast talking about it right now.
Yeah, so like, this is the thing, right? This is something I said 2 weeks ago, and it is something Rift Traveler has just brought up. Yes, no one else can track your data, but Apple still sure as hell will. Because let's face it, it's their damn device.
Do you own it?
Well, in Apple's case, you definitely don't.
Yeah, sorry. Paradise Decay dropped in, and we didn't say hello. Hello, Paradise. How you doing, mate? How you doing?
Right, let's go on to something less depressing than Facebook.
I've got something to announce.
Less depressing.
I've got something to announce.
Go on, Mac.
Right. So, just at Christmas time, I hit 10,000 subscribers, which means there's a certain benefit that you can unlock, and it is the merch shelf. This is a prototype, but the merch shelf is live. You can now go to Teespring, and you can buy a MK:VR branded T-shirt or cup. Yeah, so I worked. These are sort of slogans that I've used before, and I've never designed a T-shirt before. These are just like slogans that have come into my crazy head. Yeah, so I've got a merch shelf. If you want to join the madness that is MK:VR,
I need to get me one of those eat, sleep, respawn, repeat. I need one of those shirts, man.
Yeah.
Like, even if it wasn't your shirt, that's a shirt that I would buy.
Yeah.
I like it. Like the other ones, mainly because of the colours on the merch shelf. It might be different if they were in different colours. I like me some dark colours. I don't know if you guys tell. I very rarely wear any colour apart from black.
The reason the merch, like most of the shirts are black or navy, but the reason I did those colours there is to make the merch shelf look something along the lines of not just fucking black T-shirts.
PD, that is very, very welcome. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Paradise. Thanks, mate. That's absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much.
That'll go towards his legal fund.
Yeah, to get my fucking Facebook account back. Anyway, if you want to support the channel, go to Teespring. You can find me under MK:VR. There will be a Rekin Krew T-shirt, but I need to talk to.
We need to actually have some design talks about the Rekin Krew T-shirt.
We do. And there are other t-shirts that will be on the way, but this is something I've never done before, and I'm learning. So it's like watching a tortoise with 3 legs, an arthritic tortoise with 3 legs, trying to drag himself up a very, very steep set of stairs. So you just have to bear with me. I am an old man, for fuck's sake.
I just want to address what Skeever said. PowerOnVR is overheating. There's smoke everywhere. The reason for that, even if I wasn't vaping, mate, is because I'm running on a fucking laptop. Like, I run my entire VR setup from a laptop. Like, all of my channel, every PC VR, everything is done on a laptop. This thing is... I'm surprised my office haven't burned down. But that might be because... I had a massive weather in the UK. I don't know if you guys, those of you in the UK will know about it. Those of you who are outside the UK, we're not used to extreme weather. We're used to bad weather, but we're not used to storms and like 90-mile-an-hour winds and a ton of rain that comes down like it's actually trying to stab you with daggers. As it turns out, my VR office, my studio, is in a conservatory, and the roof did not survive it, and consequently a load of my equipment. And it's the insurance might cost me a little bit on that one. But so a few things might not be coming very quickly for the channel over the next few weeks. We will see.
So basically, what Shuey's saying is that he's a peasant. And he wants one of those.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Shuey does need an actual PC at some point. It is in the works. YouTube pay me money now. Not much, but YouTube do pay me money.
No, that's right. You did your 1,000 subscribers and your 40 was it 4,000 watch hours? You got
4,000 watch hours seems
that
like
was hard.
A massive.
Yeah.
Right. Any of you that are starting, like we've got a few other content creators in the chat right now, like PD, for instance. 4,000 watch hours seems huge or it did for me in the first 9 months of me doing it.
Yeah. The
moment I hit 1,000 subscribers, I did almost 1,200 watch hours that week.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
They're exactly the same for me. I hit 1,000 subscribers before I hit 4,000 watch hours. But they kind of happened about the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And saying that, like 18 months down the line, I hit 11,000 subscribers and 1 million views. So, and that's not a great...
Yeah, 1 million views is insane,
No, it is. It's like people watch me. I'd just like to mention somebody in the comments. AppJ, absolutely brilliant comment, mate. Black t-shirts matter.
Yeah, 100%.
That's genius.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, right, let's get back onto actual VR news and stuffs.
Okay. Yes, let's get back onto that. Hold on. Okay, let's go.
So this is gonna burn Mac a little bit. This is a little bit of a bitter one, a bitter pill, because he no longer has access to a Quest for a little while. But we're gonna talk about Quest still, because A, that's the headset I've got, and B, because it is currently still the most prolific headset in the world.
It is, and you have been doing some important research, I do believe.
I have been doing some research, yes. And the main reason I've been doing research is, here's the thing, right? VR is amazing. I love VR.
Absolutely.
But free VR is better.
Pavlov.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'll argue with Crash again, as I did this week.
With his little flag.
No, he didn't have a flag. He didn't have a flag, but he had a lot of opinions. They were wrong, but he had opinions. Pavlov, in my opinion, is objectively the best game on the Quest at the moment. Come at me.
No.
For it.
No, I absolutely agree. I've probably put about 40 to 50 hours into Pavlov, like playing the the zombies, playing a bit of PvP. It's incredible considering it's free.
Yeah, okay, so let's preface this.
Shack.
Because there are two different versions of Pavlov. There is Pavlov PCVR, and that's just called Pavlov. Pavlov on the Oculus Quest 2 is from the App Lab section of the store, and it is called Pavlov Shack Beta still.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, yeah.
And this game, right, I ignored it for a while because I've had it on PCVR, and when Pavlov Shack first came out, I ignored it because I didn't need to use it, right? And someone pointed out to me on a video of mine from about 4 months ago that Pavlov Shack actually has everything that Pavlov on PC VR now has. So there's no real need, unless you want slightly better fidelity, to actually own it on the PC VR version compared to just having it on the Oculus Quest.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I say it is objectively, and that's on what I'll preface that, right? It doesn't mean that it's my favorite game. It doesn't mean that it's Crash's favorite game, and it doesn't mean that it's Mac's favorite game. What it means is that there are so many things you can do on Pavlov now, because it's not just a Call of Duty rip-off shooter. It's not just a World at War rip-off shooter.
CSGO.
It's not just a Counter-Strike CSGO shooter. Because you now have DayZ, you have TTT, you have different types of vehicle battles, more like Battlefield type games now. It is so many different things. And why is it so many different things? Because the community gives a shit about it. And the reason the community gives a shit about it is because they didn't have to pay for it in the first place. So they put the extra effort in because they know that people don't, there's no barrier to entry there.
Yeah. I would
don't need it.
I would just like to say, sorry, just a slight interrupt. I would like to say that the Pavlov isn't that expensive on PC VR, and if you can afford it, then buy it, because there's a mod community,
and it's cheap at the moment as well.
Yeah. There's a mod community on Pavlov that made full Kino de Toten Call of Duty Zombie levels with all the upgrades, all the guns, all the sound, and somebody made that, and it's absolutely, pardon my French, fucking incredible. And I've played quite a lot of it with Face and Crash, was it Crash? And sort of Surgical and Hivaxo, and in VR, it's just amazing. So what I'm hoping is, going back to your original thing about the free games, is that Shack gets that, because if it does, fuck, that is gonna take off like a...
Yeah.
Okay, right.
The thing is it is a free game, right? So this is what I've been exploring for the past 2 weeks. I've had COVID, and so I've been fairly out of touch with everything in the real world. But it has given me a lot of chances to go and try a ton of free games. So what I did was I started an A4. I started a Word document, a Google document. And I listed everyone I could find, and I downloaded literally everyone I could find. I've got a 256 gigabyte Oculus, so it fit most of them.
Right,
when I say it fit most of them, that's how many free games we're talking about here.
Really?
Because it's not. Yeah, no, it's insane. You've got free games that range from.
I've got
20 megabytes.
I've got Medal of Honor on mine. And I've still got 120 gigabytes of space.
I deleted the shit out of that as fast as I could once I'd realised just how garbage the single player was.
Yeah, sorry, carry on, mate. I apologise.
No, not at all. It needs to be said. I will happily say that game was garbage at every chance I get. So, yeah, I've been going through them, and what I found is that if there is a niche, somebody somewhere, some crazy mad scientist VR coder will create something.
Yeah.
So obviously you've got things that are more polished, like Pavlov, and that's great. You've got things like We Are One, which was formerly Help Yourself, which is a puzzle shooter game with the idea that you're this weird plant thing, and you jump into one part of the map, and you do something, and then you come back and you objectively look at the map, and then you jump into another part of the map as a clone of yourself in the same time period, which means that you have to like chuck yourself a gun or chuck yourself ammunition or
That
take out a
sounds-
certain barrier. And it is free at the moment, and it is phenomenal. Like, I spent a good 3 hours playing this game.
Yeah,
So
that
you've got,
I did see that.
really-
It does look really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 100% worth it. You've got really high-end free games like that. You've got mid-range games, stuff like, have you heard of the game Gladiators?
I haven't. No.
No, so it's another App Lab game. It is a wave shooter, a zombie sci-fi alien wave shooter, where you're in this sort of dystopian, low poly arena, and they're throwing all these things at you, and you have to kill them, and then you earn money, and you go and buy upgrades and different weapons. You have to make sure you've got ammunition and aircraft strikes and all sorts of different things. And it's once again completely free, and that game is so much fun. I spent 4 hours solid because it's not that difficult, but it's incredibly fun.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, that's a mid-range level, and then you've got stuff on the very
It's on my
far
list.
end. Yeah, put it on your list, man, because
It is,
even
yeah.
if you play it for half an hour, it was free. And then you've got the very far end, right? And I'm trying to get as close to I can to the sort of edge of my webcam here. And you've got things like Bike It. Bike It is a game that I genuinely didn't think that would exist. And the reason being is that somebody on TikTok, on one of my free review videos, said, can you please find a motocross or a dirt bike VR game? And my brain straight away said, you're going to vomit everywhere.
Yes.
That game sounds like the worst idea imaginable.
And you are talking to somebody who has massively strong VR legs and absolutely loves racing simulators like Automobilista 2, Assetto Corsa Competizione. I played Dirt Rally 2 in VR and fucking nearly vomited within 5 minutes.
So this game, not only is it low graphics and low effort, at points it will make you do an unintentional barrel roll. I fell over trying to review this game twice. I felt sick. I felt very, very sick for about 20 seconds, and then my brain was just like, don't worry, we know what's happening here. But the point is, this game is worth checking out because it's something that doesn't exist anywhere else. There isn't another version of this game. Eventually, there will be 10 versions of this game. Same as every other MotoGP or dirt bike type game on Pancake side of things. But for now, this exists. And if you've got a strong stomach, you should check it out. It's on side quest. It's called Bike It. And it is garbage, but it is worth checking out.
No, what it is, I'll tell you what it is. This is the VR equivalent of Plan B from Outer Space. The worst film ever made. You've never heard of it?
I don't know this film.
Oh,
I've never heard of this film.
God. Right, I'm going to do a quick...
it can't be... Right, I object.
Oh, no.
I have to say, it can't be the worst film ever. And
no, it is.
Hate me for this.
It is.
Most people are going to hate me for this. The worst film ever is Napoleon Dynamite, in my opinion.
No, dude, this on... what the fucking Plan B? Right, so please, somebody in the chat, help me out here.
Paradise Decay. Did you not see my current motocross video? I didn't, my dude.
No, I didn't.
I got one working with VR. Was it one of your amazing I changed things through PC from Pancake to VR? Was that it? Because if so, then awesome, and I need to go and check out your video. I must have missed it.
Is that a Vortex? Do you know what? And this happens a lot. So obviously I'm subscribed to Paradise Decay. I'm subscribed to PowerOn. And I don't get notifications when I actually have to physically go and check your channels every once or twice a week to make sure that Plan 9 from Outer Space, Plan B's the fucking rapper.
Skiva, as far as not growing up with people like that, I have to agree, although I'm in the UK, one of my best friends growing up and her entire family were American, and I was well immersed into that lifestyle to the point where I spent a lot of my time on American air bases. So I do know those people.
Yeah.
That film just bothers me a lot.
Right, so here we go. Going back to Plan 9 from Outer Space. This guy, he was a director, he was called Ed Wood, and he had a fetish about women in cashmere sweaters with big tits. So, you kind of like him already, don't you? If you, do not under any circumstances watch Plan 9 from Outer Space, because you will never get that time back in your life. But there's an absolutely amazing film starring Johnny Depp where he plays Ed Wood, and you get a whole insight into his psyche. And it's just, he was a fucking weirdo. But, anyway, there you go. That isn't got anything to do with VR. But what I was trying to say is that Bike It is the VR equivalent of the worst film ever made, Plan 9 from Outer Space. Or it's Napoleon.
No, it's not. This is the thing, right? It is garbage, but it's not on that level because someone has actually taken the effort to make this fun in a certain way. So because they didn't, because they couldn't get the biking down perfectly, because it's in this like, it's not like you're on a dirt track. You're on sort of a skate arena, a skate park type thing with.
Oh, so you have to do turns and.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's not going to work.
Man. No, it's
not.
That
is not going to work.
And to make it more fun, what they've done is they've given you an Uzi, and there are these weird targets. And instead of there being targets, they look like some sort of weird pill from a pharmaceutical advert that are flying around the arena that you have to try and shoot. But it doesn't fire bullets. For some reason, it fires BBs. I don't know what was going through this person's head when they created it, but I thank you for this existing because it was an interesting half an hour.
I think there may have been some prescription pharmaceuticals involved in that case.
There must have been.
And it's obviously a program, and he's gone, well, I like skating and I like my BMX. I'll make a game about doing that in VR. And he's gone, riddler diddler, put about 2 days effort into it and thought, nah, that's not going to work. Just fuck it.
The thing is, it kind of does. Like I've made a TikTok about it that's coming out in a couple of days, and it's just like a quick 20 seconds. This is the video that you asked me to find. This is the game that you asked me to find. Don't play it because you'll vomit everywhere. But here it is. It exists. If you really want to go and do it, go load up SideQuest. Go find it. It exists.
Oh, jeez. You just got to fucking love. Yeah. You just got to love the fucking community, haven't you? See, the thing is that
you do
that joy of just stupidity has been crushed from consoles like PSVR and Xbox because, like, the licensing fees, the development fees, they're so high now that you can't make it. You can still make a shit game, but you can't make a shit game that has no production value.
You can make a basic game and it'd be phenomenal because I've played some this week actually that aren't free games necessarily, and it's something that we're going to move on to when we talk about Steam Next Fest in a minute. Yeah,
which caught me completely with my pants down because the only reason I knew that Steam Next Fest was on was because the Green Hell demo dropped, which is something we are going to come back to.
If any of you guys have actually watched my most recent video on the games coming out for the next 6 weeks, I don't mention Next Fest at all, but I mention 2 of the games that are coming out on it because I didn't know Next Fest was a thing. I just found these games demos and was like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
So it caught me unsurprised as
Next Fest is a Steam thing, right? So as a content creator on YouTube who is moving into doing this full time, I am obsessed with not missing out on games that are coming out and stuff that is coming out and GDC and EGX and all these sort of things that you have to keep up with if you're a content creator. And Shuey said to me yesterday, oh, Steam Next Fest. And I was like, the fuck's that? I did, didn't I? I was like, I don't even know what, because you actually made a spelling mistake and it called it fucking Sex Fest or something.
Oh, Nest Fest.
Nest Fest. I was like, I like nests. So when you corrected yourself, I was like, all right. Typed in Steam Next Fest on Google, and I was like, I didn't even know that this was going on. So yeah, but it's the problem is it's picking out the VR stuff from all the crap.
Now here's the thing with the Next Fest, they did add an entire VR section. They actually have a button that lists only VR stuff now.
Oh,
and
see, I missed that.
They
yeah.
are pushing that forward. Like, I was surprised. In the categories, you've got shooter, you've got puzzler, you've got adventure, you've got exploring, whatever it is. Like, I don't know, adult fantasy or whatever those different platforms are. But the last one, the very last one, is VR.
Oh, right. Okay.
Now we're actually starting to see even Steam take up the mantle and be like, no, you guys are actually a part of our events now.
But the thing is, right, so going back to the Quest 2 60%... Sorry, not Quest 2 is 46%. Oculus Meta is 60% of Steam VR, and we just hit 3 million users, consecutive users.
Yep.
In 1 month, and that happened last month. So if you've got 3 million people playing in VR on your platform, you cannot ignore them. It's only still 2.5% overall of Steam VR users. But it's something like 30-odd% of all Steam VR users have tried VR. And that
doesn't surprise me.
Is a fucking colossal number. So you might not get them returning to VR every month, but you see what I mean?
A third have tried it.
A third have tried VR. And, you know, if it's something like Richie's Plank Experience or that fucking roller coaster, then I'm a little bit annoyed because... The first thing anybody that ever played VR, the first thing you should try is Beat Saber because you don't have to explain what's going on, and it's fucking good.
And this is important with Beat Saber, right? This is very important with Beat Saber.
I know what you're going to say.
VR.
I know what you're going to say.
You don't have to move. You're in a stationary position at all times, and therefore VR sickness is not a huge problem for you. And it might still be a little bit.
Yeah. And you don't have to press any buttons. You don't have to give somebody a controller and say, this is the trigger button, this is the grip button, this is the A and B button, and they're the two Oculus buttons. You just say, you've got two lightsabers. Everybody knows what a lightsaber is. That block that has the downward arrow, slash down. The block that has the upward arrow, in blue, slash up with the blue saber. And do the same with the red saber. And I've actually gone to work and done this to somebody who's never played a VR game before. I said, right, you've got a blue lightsaber and a red lightsaber. Slash the way the arrows go. And they went, oh, right, okay. And it was only on easy, but they were like,
The first time you play it, you feel like a Jedi. Even if it's a little bit, it makes you feel a little bit like a Jedi. And that's what guys want.
Exactly. So
let's face it.
Like, everybody who's got a VR headset and wants to demonstrate the VR headset to their friends, fucking show them Beat Saber first. Because
I slightly disagree on that one. I genuinely think that the first thing that you should show anybody on a VR headset is the First Steps apps.
Sorry.
Or First Contact.
Do you know what I did? I showed them the First Steps app before I showed them Beat Saber. So yes, you're absolutely correct. I do apologise, and I'm a fucking idiot because I forgot I did that.
Because even though it's a tutorial thing and that sounds boring, I genuinely still think that it has a lot of awe and wonder built into that particular tutorial.
It does.
It's still, when I first load that up, even now, because I tried it the other week when I was loading it up for somebody else, and I saw all the whooshing, like the fish coming past me, and everything
the whale,
coming up in the nice pinks and purples. That still gave me a little spine tingle, and that's what I love, like a little bit of emotionality,
a bit of a tingle
into the VR experience. Yeah, a little bit of a tingle.
Well, this like
tingle in my dingle.
So there was a girl who's not a gamer, and she's never played VR. So that is like a complete and utter. Give her two controllers, and she hasn't got a clue what to do. She did First Steps, right? And then there's a part in First Steps where you have the bottle rocket.
Yep.
And bearing in mind, this girl had been in VR for 5 minutes and has never ever played a video game in her life. And she went,
Because you know what to do.
Exactly! Exactly! And this is why I love VR. And, right, this is why I fucking hated the fucking Hitman VR port to PC. Because they... If I want to pick a fucking fuse up, and I've talked about this in my review, if I want to pick a fuse up, I want to pick the fuse up. And if I want to put the fuse in a socket, I want to put the fuse in a socket. I don't want to press a button to pick it up. I don't want to press a button to... I don't want to press a button to strangle somebody. I just want to fucking strangle them.
Yeah, no, and I 100%... Oh, just so that we're clear, right? Just so that I've just literally had a thought about the strangle thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Sony PSVR2, which we're moving on to in a second, is coming out soon, and it has haptic triggers.
Haptics.
So we're not going to be able to feel necessarily, but you're going to be able to feel just a little bit when you strangle shit out of them.
Do you know what would be amazing? Do you know what would be amazing, right? And if in Hitman... Because they have to port Hitman VR onto PlayStation 2 VR. They have to do... Because the PSVR version was... You know, it was base and the graphics are not great. On PC, now that they've patched it, it really looks good. But it's still got that horrible PSVR... Because they had to adapt the move controls. And it's so indistinct and there's so many things you can't do. So I think about this, right? And I think about this a lot. Imagine playing PSVR 2 with your haptic controllers, where when you pull the triggers down, they can give you a little bit of resistance, and you put your hands on somebody's neck, and you felt dum 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 dum.
Oh yes, and
then when you squeezed, it went
pop.
Dum dum dum.
That
right?
would be awesome.
Now I'm not saying I'm a fucking serial killer.
No, but you want to be able to... This is the thing with VR for me. For me specifically, right? There is no way I'm going to go dirt biking. There is no way that I'm going to go and hunt people for sport. I want to know what that experience is like.
Well, I was in the army, but I never got shot at. I've been in Onward.
Oh,
Onward.
I feel for you.
I've been in Onward, and I've been in firefights where, I mean, Onward's audio, especially, I mean, it's good on Quest. It is good on Quest. But on PC, it is frightening. Because you hear the... as the bullets go past you, and you're like, oh, yeah. And you proper... I'm in a fucking VR game. I could stick my head out and get shot in the head and be like, hey, no consequence. But it's the...
I was in Onward today.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal game.
I know, you bastard. I
got to experience sneaking up on a guy. Like I had never performed a melee kill in Onward until today.
All right, okay.
I just never done it.
All right.
And I was on the new dam level.
Oh yeah, great level.
Yeah.
Bit too big, but there you go.
I had 20 enemies on there, and I'd managed, out of the 20, I'd managed to melee or directly behind the guy's head with a silenced pistol, take him out for about 12 of these.
Oh,
I
cool.
was having an absolute ball. And each time I was scared and I was worried and I was anxious because I really wanted to get that, knife this guy, shoot that guy. And I felt like I was there. I felt like I was James Bond wandering around,
Yeah.
More, less James Bond because I had a massive, great sniper rifle on my back. But you get my point.
And you also, you have a big ginger beard. I've never. James Bond wasn't
I feel
ginger.
like Daniel Craig, if he grew a beard, would probably be slightly ginger.
Okay. We'll move on.
Okay, so PSVR 2 then. PSVR 2.
No. Can I just one thing?
Okay.
One thing before we move on to PSVR 2. So I've got a friend again in that gaming session where I took my headset to work, and I've got a friend who's a massive Call of Duty fan. Actually, my boss. And he was like, "Have you got anything that's like Call of Duty in VR?" And I was like, "Yeah, Onward." But it's not like Call of Duty in VR, but obviously you've got the gun mechanics and blah, blah, blah. So I took him into the range, and I said, right, this isn't... You don't press a button in Onward. You take a magazine out, you put the magazine in, you cock the gun. If you run out of bullets, you can't just, press B and your gun reloads, you've got to physically. So it's like you have to learn. So after about 5 minutes, 10 minutes on the range, where I blew his mind by reloading an M249 physically, and he was like, "Oh!" Anyway, I took him into Bazaar on the day, and we went into the marketplace, and I went, "There's some enemies," and he went, "Pop, pop, 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 pop!" Oh, and he fucking dropped them. This is a guy who's been in VR for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because like you said, apart from the loading mechanics, you don't need to know how to play shooting a gun. When you're in VR, you can fucking shoot a gun.
If you play with a Nerf gun, you can basically do most of what you need on Onward. And the rest of it is stuff that you've picked up from watching COD. Airsoft.
I mean, in my history was I was in the army, so I know how to reload guns and I know how to shoot guns. I played a lot of Call of Duty. I play Airsoft, and I play Onward. So if you gave me nearly any gun, any real life gun in the world, I could shoot and reload that thing without ever having actually touched one previously.
And helped with that is the fact that with Onward, you learn about different weapons. Not the full breakdowns, but to an extent, you at least find out how they're reloaded, whether or not you actually need to pull the magazine out or whether it will slide out on its own.
Yeah.
Simple things like that. The fact that you can pull a magazine and see and count how many bullets are left in that magazine.
That is
incredible. Which I had to do several times today, and that blows my mind still today.
Yeah. They just need to fix the ammo boxes. Right. PSVR2. Because we can have a whole conversation about fucking ammo boxes and Onward.
You can have a whole conversation about Onward. Like I play that game once a week. I still love it. Anyway, yeah. PSVR2, Mac, we've had some images. Everybody in the chat, I'm pretty certain, is going to have seen these images at this point, but we're going to discuss it. And the reason we're going to discuss it is because it's still likely to be one of the big points of VR this year. I say likely because there is the possibility, however small, that this thing is going to be garbage, but not because of the hardware. I think it will be the type of software that is released with it.
I have no, from what I've seen of the spec, and from what I've seen of what it looks like, and it looks fucking amazing, those controllers. So we'll get back to the look and the reveal and everything. My biggest concern is they've only shown that one You can have the best headset in the world. You can have a Pimax 8K with full human resolution, field of view, 4K per eye panels. But the things that make headsets are the games that go with it. So what are we going to get on PSVR? Are we going to get Uncharted? Are we going to get the big AAA games that utilize face haptics, trigger haptics, eye tracking, and these fantastic OLED screens that we're going to have access to? You're quickly Googling, aren't you?
I am trying to find a decent image of it quickly. Do you know what, right? If I Google this, oddly, and I go into the images section straight away, it doesn't actually come up with the image that I want straight away, which is kind of mind-blowing. Yeah,
that's. I mean, while Shuey's fanning about, that's basically what the PlayStation 2 VR looks like. So what they've done is they've taken those amazing controllers and they've kept the dark grey inside, but they've like put a white shell around the outside. Now that it doesn't actually look that much different from a original PlayStation VR, does it?
No,
but it has that beautiful the Halo strap,
which is not everyone's cup of tea.
Okay,
I don't think anyway.
I have to honestly put my hands up and say here, the only person I know that's got PlayStation VR is Face, and he gave it to his brother. So I've never experienced it. I've never actually experienced it. So, but wow, aesthetics. How good does that look?
Oh yeah, no, it does look fantastic. Hang on, let me just pop this in because I'm just going to pop it behind me, seeing that that's sort of what I actually have access to as far as my powers on this stream at the moment. Right, so hopefully you guys can see that behind my head a little bit.
Yeah,
I'll sort of duck out of the way. It does look pretty stylish. I mean, it's slightly more rounded than the Quest overall. I have a feeling it's going to be comfy, but honestly, the fact that it's got a wire on it doesn't fuss me. I think a lot of people are whinging about that for no reason, but the controllers, they're the thing that still now really get me. They look beautiful. They curve around your hands. The only thing I would say is they look kind of similar to the 90s Sony Ericsson symbol.
That's a fucking random comment.
Oh yeah, that is a random comment, and most people probably won't know what I'm talking about. But it was the Sony Ericsson when they were joined as a phone manufacturer in the late 90s, early 2000s. But this headset looks great.
Yeah,
and I think because the PS5 already looks really slim and nice, I think this is going to look really nice sat next to it. I think what they need to do, and this is what a lot of VR headset manufacturers need to start doing, they need to start producing an actual stand that they sell alongside the device.
Oh, this is really weird. Because Eric for President has just done a video where he actually says exactly the same thing.
When did he do it? Because I watch a lot of his stuff.
Yeah, it might have been today. I've watched it today.
Oh, God damn it. So I am just off by like a few hours on that nice hot take there.
You are. No, so what he said was, he was talking about PSVR2. He said was that consoles are something that you display. So when somebody goes into your house and goes into your living room, there is your Xbox. You know, that amazing design that the Xbox Series X has. You know, it looks amazing.
The fridge.
The beautiful PlayStation 5. It looks like a big
I'm sorry,
air
are we
freshener.
Gonna ignore the fact that you've said that the Xbox looks beautiful? Are we honestly going to skip over that particular piece of shit?
I'm an Xbox fanboy.
I know you are.
Right,
but it doesn't.
But the PlayStation,
Okay, we'll skip it.
The PlayStation 5 now that is a beautiful piece of kit.
Oh yeah, no, that is a beautiful thing to look at.
If you can actually fucking get hold of one, it looks like a giant air freshener.
Can't.
No, I can't. Even I can't. No,
I'm not willing to pay over the odds for it.
No,
that's the thing.
Same as me.
I'm not willing to pay that amount of money.
That's why I will not upgrade my PC while a 3080 Ti costs £1,500. When Nvidia said,
I've been looking at PCs so hard recently.
Dude,
I want a 3080 Ti.
Guess who's just retired, and guess who's due a rather large lump sum?
Oh God, you disgust me. Because you're going to lord it over me. I'm going to watch it in the background of you're going to take a new picture for this podcast, and I'm going to have to watch it in your background.
I'm going to take my 2080 Ti out of my PC. And I'm going to put it in the bin. No, fucking not. I'm going to sell that.
No,
bastard.
you're fucking not. It's still worth a lot.
Exactly. I'm going to get a fucking PS5 out there. Right. So where were we? PSVR. Right. Yeah. So exactly what Eric for President said was, he says his Quest 2 sits in a drawer, and he said what he wants is people to come into his house, because I believe he's quite a social person. Yep. He wants people to come into his house, and he wants them to see the Quest 2 on a stand, because it does look nice. You know, if you have like a sort of gently LED lit stand like I do, and you have your Quest on it with your Quest controllers, it looks pretty awesome. People walk in and go, "Oh, what's that?" You say, "Oh, this is the Quest 2." So that's exactly what he said about the PSVR. He said PSVR 2, he said they need to have a stand so that you can have your amazing looking PS5 that you bought from a scalper for fucking twice as much as you should have. Yep. And then you should have a stand with your matching, because those controllers, I mean, people look at them and go, oh. I mean, I look at the pictures and I go, they look, I believe that. If something looks good, then, you know, I think for it's like functionality, people look at it and go, oh, that's going to be great, even if it's shite.
And that's what they need to do. Like, I mean, I display mine at the moment, not amazingly. They are sat along a board on a mat, because I have two quests next to each other, with different setups. One with a Halo strap, one with an Elite strap, one that has the like my Pro Tube mounts on it, so that I've got easy access to that, and one with the Kiwi design. Yeah, see, I was considering buying that exact stand.
I've got two of them. I've got this one for my Quest, and I've got the black one for my Index. But the problem with the Index one is you have to unplug the HDMI cable to mount it, and it's too much of a fanny on because you have to take the clip off the back and blah, 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 blah. So what I was actually going to do, because I'm that much of a fucking tart, I was going to buy an old Quest just to display.
Yeah. I've been considering it recently.
Yeah, but then again, you know, this is my job now, so I need to spend money on stuff like this because it's, you know, it's important
I think you need
to display
an 8K, mate. I think you need to display an 8K. I don't think you considered a real VR like full-time YouTuber doing it as is your career if you don't have an 8K just sat in the background not being used.
I thought you said AK because I was then going to go in the garage. I was then going to go in the garage and get my airsoft AK out for you.
Let's not do that because this video will get banned the shit out of.
And then Facebook will say, "We've reinstated your account." Oh, hold on. He's been waving an AK.
Hold on. Actually, no, you're apparently way too into your rifles, and you're not allowed that in the UK.
Oh dear. I don't feel the need for great resolution. Right, so well, this is interesting. Mark Alexander said, I don't feel the need for great resolutions on VR headsets. We are already on the edge of what the best GPUs can handle. I'd rather have a bigger FOV. So
I can understand that.
The PSVR2 FOV is and they've stated this, around 110 degrees. So
didn't they accidentally say 200 and something degrees at one
point? Yeah, and everybody was like, oh, Pimax! And it was like, Pimax, no, we're the only ones that do that. Right, so Pimax is some crazy 220 degree, which is like human field of vision. The Index is surgical. Dude, thank you very much. Thank you very much,
buddy.
mate.
He needs all the help with his legal counsel as he can get.
He did. Surgical, on my retirement, Surgical sent me a Steam VR gift card. So he already does far too much for me. So I love you, man.
He's a lovely man. Go check out his channel, guys.
Oh, yeah. Go check out. In the description, you will see links to Surgical Gaming's Twitch and YouTube, and you will see the same for Shuey's and PowerOnVR's links. So
have I got the honour of being added to this podcast? Have I,
dude? I added you to my videos since last week.
Do you know? Right? Do you know? Just so that we've got this actually on record. If you go and look at my videos for the past 9 months. You have had a mention in every single one of my descriptions.
Oh no! Oh, that's so nice of you, right?
Genuinely, you've been so that you've got this on. Like Mac got a bit drunk the other day and said some lovely things to me, so I'm going to say it live on stream instead. You have genuinely been one of my favourite YouTubers for well over a year now, since I first found you in February last year.
Thank you.
And you continue to be that, man, so keep it up. Now that you're retired, you're going to have to set that shit up.
If anybody's wondering what I said to Shuey, it wasn't sexual. Basically, so when you get to a certain size of channel, and this is going to happen to Shuey as well, when you start getting to a certain size of channel, you get a lot of people contacting you and saying, can we do a collaboration? And I hope there's not anybody watching that's had this kind of conversation with me. I need to have a conversation with you to make sure that we are on the same level.
His interview.
Yeah, so basically what happened is I met Shuey and we played some video games, and he said, "Oh, I've got a YouTube channel, we should do a collab." And I was like, "Oh yeah, fair enough. That's right. I'll have a quick Discord video call with you." Because if we had nothing to talk about, this podcast would be shit. Well, it went. Sorry.
100%. I agree with you.
Who wants to do a shit podcast? Right, the whole idea
Who
of this
wants to listen to people that don't want to be in the same room together?
Exactly,
thing, right?
exactly. So what I always wanted with the collaboration was for somebody that I can engage with, somebody that had a deep knowledge of gaming, and somebody who was funny. And I was like, within 5 minutes of talking to Shuey on this Discord, I was like, yeah, I actually think he's the guy. And I think, what did we end up chatting for about like an hour and a half? And we were like, oh.
Yeah, it
just
disappeared.
Yeah, it just disappeared. So, to me, that's perfect because, like, Shuey said he's not very well. So I was concerned about tonight's podcast. So I just said, like, mate, you just break it off whenever you want. But, yeah, we've done an hour and 15 minutes already, and we haven't even...
No, I'm good to carry on going, mate. We've got plenty to talk about still.
Have you drank that fucking cherry beer?
Oh, yeah, no, that cherry beer's gone, mate. It's been gone a while.
Fuck for that. You should have just poured it down the drain.
Yeah, no, I'm regretting drinking it. It hasn't sat well. I'm not going to lie. The thing is, I had a Peaky Blinders lager sat there that I could have drunk instead.
Yeah.
Called a Shelby lager, I think. But anyway, yeah. So as far as PSVR2, back to the actual thing. PSVR2, Odin the Odious is 110 degrees diagonal according to VR Compare. Not much more than the G2, which isn't really that much more than the Quest 2. Yes.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong. So what I've got here is I've got the spec. See, right, on the spec, we'll quickly rewind and then we'll get to what Odin said. We've got a 2000 by 2040 per eye micro OLED display. And so, if sadly as Bradley's watching, micro OLED. Because he's got a bit of a thing about micro OLEDs.
That's an ASMR moment, that is. That's a clippable ASMR moment.
And then we've got 90 to 120 hertz refresh rate, which is, I'm actually, unless you're playing competitively, I don't think you really, what he said.
I'm just in Serge is donated for Shuey's nappies. Oh,
I think I need a wee.
It's going to be for the cleaning bill, mate. That's what it'll be.
It is. So to address Odin, the Odious, the actual spec it says is around 110 degrees. So yeah, but they haven't actually.
What refresh rate does it have?
90 to 120 hertz.
Right. Okay. So this is the thing I was going to say in response to what somebody who was it earlier that said, it was Mark Alexander. I don't disagree with you entirely. I don't necessarily think there is definitely a place for the higher end resolution, the higher end graphical, like real life comparisons like Half-Life Alyx. But I don't find me playing games that often that need to be that good. I think the milsims like Onward need to get to that point because I want to be immersed in that world. I want to feel like I'm actually going through with my night vision goggles. I want to feel like I'm actually touching a wall as I look around with a pistol just to check what is around that corner. I would never do that. That's not a very good way of doing things.
Just give me a second.
Okay, I'm going to carry on talking. So I don't think that most of the games needs to actually be that much further. I've played a lot of games recently that I have enjoyed thoroughly, that I wouldn't have enjoyed anywhere near as much or at all in Pancake, right? I would need to play them in VR to enjoy them, and almost none of those have been high-end graphical monsters. Like, these have all been on the Quest 2. They've either been free games or they've been like not too expensive games or slightly more unknown games, like a game that I played this week, and my review for it is coming out on Saturday, I think, and it's a game called Jet Bounce. Jet Bounce looks like shit. It doesn't. It doesn't look amazing, and it just is incredibly fun. And for the most part, for most of us, that's what we want from VR, right? We're not necessarily. Most of us aren't looking for horrendously, or horrendously isn't the right word, incredibly immersive. You feel like you forget that you're in a game. A lot of people aren't necessarily looking for that. They're just looking for fun. And this is the reason why a lot of people love playing Population 1, because Population 1 might not look particularly realistic, but it works, and it works really well, and it has a really good community, but the graphics for it aren't phenomenal. But yet the community is huge for it, and the game works nicely.
What? Sorry, what have I missed? I do apologise.
I've been ranting, mate. I've been ranting about the general VR space and the fact that for the most part, we don't need to have graphically intense games in order to have fun.
No, like for me, I mean, I did that stream on Monday where I played the Half-Life Alyx mod, Gunman Contracts, and that is about as good as it gets. It was amazing. Do I agree with Mark? Do you need a better FOV? Yes, probably. But
and what he just said, actually, what I want is higher bitrate, better picture streaming quality, higher FOV, and better contrast. And I completely agree with you. And micro LED, one or two parts of that.
Mm. And most importantly, and it's one of the things that we've got away from talking about PSVR2. One of the things that a lot of people don't realise is that PSVR2 has eye tracking, and that the eye tracking is going to be done by Toby. And eye tracking reduces the GPU stress by something like 60 to 70%, which means if you have a mid-level or low-level GPU, you can still get that incredible 4K experience without having to have a hugely powerful GPU, because eye tracking reduces the overhead of your GPU by 60 to 70%. And I have actually showed these things in my videos before.
I cannot wait for when Cambria comes out, which is going to have the same technology, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's going to have the same eye tracking and foveated rendering and stuff like this. I cannot wait for somebody psychotic enough to try and make Half-Life Alyx actually run on that piece of shit, right? It won't, but I want someone to try.
Yeah, so, of course, me being a geek, like a Connect 8, I love John Carmack's unscripted speech. I love it. So John Carmack says something really, really interesting, which a lot of people might have missed. And he said, and it's documented, Quest, fully clocked, is better than Quest 2.
Really?
Quest 2, fully clocked, is better than any current gen PC VR. But they can't fully clock them because of cooling issues. And he actually said, I don't believe the engineers. He says, I want somebody to fully clock a Quest 2 and I want it to explode in front of me before I believe them. And then he said, but obviously we can't be shipping headsets that could potentially explode out to consumers.
If anybody is watching that is willing to perform this particular experiment, I will wear safety goggles and cover my head in Teflon in order to test this. Genuinely, I will travel to you and we will as some VR content.
We have John Carmack. We have John Carmack in the chat. And he
ship me off. Stick me in a plane. I will cover myself. I will sign the waivers. You can strap a Quest 2 to my face and clock it fully, and we will see what the fuck happens. Because I do not believe for a second that it is better than what the PSVR is or any kind of PC VR is capable of.
You want Nomex, not Teflon, because Teflon would just stop an egg from sticking to your face, whereas Nomex.
I was thinking more along the lines of the heat.
Yeah, Nomex is what the Formula One guys wear. You know that guy Roman Grosjean, whose fucking car blew up when he had that crash. He was wearing Nomex, and he came out of it with some slightly toasty hands. And bearing in mind, he was in that fucker for 20 seconds before he managed to get out.
Yeah. So if anyone is willing to pay for that to
your
happen
reconstructive surgery.
Yeah, and my possible reconstructive surgery, and most importantly, my insurance on the beard.
Okay.
Right. So I'd be willing to try it.
If anybody doesn't believe me, Google. Go on YouTube and go to John Carmack Unscripted Connect 8 and watch the full presentation, because he actually says that. Right. He also says something else very interesting as well, which I always find amusing, is that he said that anybody who wants to build a metaverse right now is called a pejorative. It's a really insulting term. Pejorative. Anyway, I can't remember what he said. And he talked about these people who have no idea how to engineer or program, who come up with these ideas and say, go and do that. And all the engineers and software engineers go, well, we fucking can't. And then 2 minutes later he went, and Mark Zuckerberg has now said we need the metaverse. So the huge wheels of money are turning. So basically John Carmack massively insults his fucking boss in Unscripted on Connect 8 live. It was brilliant. It's one of my favourite moments in Unscripted. I love John Carmack. He's just amazing. And also he's hard as fucking nails, in case you didn't know.
Just so that we've got it said on here, what do you believe is the closest thing we have right now to an actual metaverse?
Well, a lot of people say VR chat, but I
don't disagree with that.
I don't disagree with that. It's not for me. It's not for me. Zenith has been amazing. No.
It's great.
No, okay,
it's great.
no. You got to understand my reasoning before you sort of.
Okay.
So the metaverse is somewhere you can go and you can be whoever you want. You can do whatever you want, and you can meet people, right? So in Zenith, you can be a Blade Master tank. You can be whatever. You can be a mage, whatever. But the reason I think that is like that game itself is a basis for what the metaverse could be like is because it's so friendly. And you know exactly what I'm talking about here.
It is friendly, but the problem I have with that is that I think that Zenith is the perfect thing to be within a metaverse, but not a metaverse. There should be a Zenith world.
Yeah.
Same as in like the Ready Player One, you have like the Nintendo world and you have the James Halliday world.
Onward world.
It should definitely be, yeah, exactly. That would be amazing if you could jump in a spacecraft, dock at the Onward world and go go on missions and things. That would be amazing.
Right. So how about this then? How about Star Citizen then?
Star Citizen, if Star Citizen had worlds that were things like Zenith World, for instance, I think that would be amazing, because Star Citizen is taking everything. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still believe fully that was a giant scam that happened to turn into something real.
You might not be too far wrong there. They might have been going, ha, this is a scam. We built this world. Oh, fuck me, lots of people bought it. Right, we'll build a ship.
And it works.
Lots of people built it.
Let's make it better.
I mean, one of my favourite YouTube content creators is Level Cap. And he dives in and out of Star Citizen. And I always look at it and think, oh, I'm so interested in that, because you can fly ships, you can get into combat. There's like real life. What's the word I'm looking for? Not circumstances, but if you lose your ship, it is fucking gone. And if you haven't insured it, you're back to square one.
Yeah, which is what I want. I want real things. I want NFT-like things without it necessarily being NFT, if you understand my meaning. I do want that, and I think VR chat, a mixture of VR chat and Minecraft, oddly,
Yeah.
are the closest we have right now to true versions of it. Skiva has said something, which I think is interesting because I keep seeing this come up. Neos VR is something I keep seeing come up, and I haven't tried. And Skiva, if you want to show me about it at some time, I would more than happily jump in there, because honestly, the reason I hadn't played VR chat until recently is because I didn't have anyone to show me around, and I delved in myself eventually, but I really want to try Neos. So let's organize that for some point after I get back, because I'm away for the next 6 to 7 days.
Working!
I would,
So,
I would love to get through that.
Mark Alexander has also made a good point here, because he says, for me, the metaverse is Zenith and VR chat. It's the ability to jump from any world to any world without restrictions. So I really like that idea, because, like, for me, so looking at Star Citizen, it's like, that's amazing. But what if you got in your ship and flew to Zenith World? What if you got in your ship and flew to Onward World? Do you see what I mean?
I would I like the idea of, honestly, like, I'm too engrossed into the Ready Player One version of the Oasis.
I am as well.
I think it's pretty much spot on for what everybody wants for the most part. But there are going to be people that are not happy with the idea that you're having to pay. So in the case of crypto, gas fees in order to transport yourself across the universe without actually having to pay for fuel and things.
Yeah.
I love that idea because I want the immersion level of that.
So you have to live, like, so you're talking to somebody here who is a huge, if you're into VR and you haven't read this book, you need to go and read it now. So it's Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, right? Not the film. The film, though it has lots of video game.
It's not the same.
It's not the book.
Spielberg cocked the fuck out with that film.
Do you know why? Because this is a book about fucking geeks and nerds from the 80s and 90s, and that does not make a good film. Unfortunately, I'm a geek.
The ending the way it did, but
yeah, but why did he do the start the way he did?
Yeah, no, it boggled the mind.
It did boggle the mind.
It's because he wanted to get the Halo in there. He wanted to get all
the King Kong, the motor
in the
racing
background, and that would have been fine. But
so
no,
anyway,
Ready Player One is truly one of my favorite books. It might not be a good book. I'm not saying that it's a great book. I'm saying that I love it.
I was born in
I was born
in 1966, and in 1978 I experienced my first video game. In 1980 I got an Atari VCS, and there's a chapter which you'll know about adventure.
Yes.
I played that.
Yeah,
right?
I've played Adventure. Not at the time, obviously, but I have played Adventure.
Well, of course, because you're just a fucking... you're just a...
Because I'm a nerd, yeah.
You're a fetus compared to me.
Yes, this is true.
You're a child. You are a child compared... So I actually played Adventure on an Atari VCS, and this is the most amazing thing. It's upstairs in my loft, and I've still got the cartridge.
Did you find the Easter egg?
No, I didn't, because there was no internet.
No, because there was no internet at the time. Unless you bought one of the magazines, and that we're talking magazines much later on, like years on.
Yeah,
you wouldn't,
especially
have known
in the UK.
It. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about,
in 1978 there wasn't an internet.
I was more meaning about the Easter egg. There is a hidden room within Adventure, the game. Adventure is it's an action adventure game, but it's very pixelated. Like this is very early. Most people won't be able to deal with it, and that's fine. But there is a point where you go and collect a key, and you collect a dot, you take it back, and it allows you into a room, which is what the devs put there. And this was the very, very, very first version of the Easter egg within a video game.
And this is where the term Easter egg came from.
Yes. And that is a huge thing, because that's a big part of gaming now, but it's obviously a big part of the actual book as well.
Yeah, it is. So like as a child of the 80s, like Ready Player One basically ticked all of my boxes. So what Spielberg did is he moved it to the late 90s, early noughties, didn't he? To get the Halo, all that sort of references in, which I suppose is a clever marketing thing. But how many people do you know who say, read the book, not the film, because the book is better than the film? And how many people say, oh, I saw the film, it was really good. And if you've read the book, you go, nah, the film was... I'm not saying the film was bad, because it wasn't. It wasn't bad.
I disagree.
No, I
would be happy if that film never existed.
As a video game freak, I liked all of the... I was like going, oh, Master Chief, oh. But like as a purist, which is obviously what the position you're coming from, the book is just... It's like War and Peace versus Borat.
Okay, so this is the thing, right? Ignoring everything else that he chucked out of it, the actual soul of the book, in my opinion, stuff to do with the 80s and the Easter eggs, the Pac-Man, when he goes to play freaking Pac-Man, okay, that stuff is the soul of that book.
It is, yeah.
Ignoring that, the character of, I can't remember her damn name, and it's really going to bother me. Artemis. The character of Artemis in the film is an over-sexualized mess of several different characters molded into one that does not know what the fuck is going on. Whereas in the book, she is a strong, independent person who has deep emotional problems. And that made her an interesting person to read about. In the film, I wanted to slap her and tell her to fuck off.
Like in the film,
sorry, that's the thing.
Like in the book, when they actually first met, I thought that was like beautiful geek. That was beautiful geekness because
it was. There was so
because
many different.
He said to her, like she had the scar, and she had the hair, and he was like, I don't.
And the glasses.
And he was like.
And the gloves.
And he's like, I don't care. And I can't remember one of the other people in that group turned out to be a
H.
Yeah, H was like this lesbian black girl who
really
was
big black
girl
who lived in an RV.
Yeah, and she like she traveled so that nobody could track her down, but like nobody cared, did they? Nobody cared. No, because
it was a shock.
Like,
it was a shock for about 10 seconds in the book, wasn't it?
I was
shocked. But that was the entirety of it.
And he was like, yeah, but you're still my friend. Now, this is like, so going back to this whole things about being a gamer, right? I've got friends, like, so bearing in mind the original Xbox came out over 20 years ago, right? So this actually happened to coincide with me joining the fire brigade, because I remember I was in my fire brigade basic training and the Xbox released, and I drove from the training camp with my mate down to Durham and went into game with my money, cash, and said to the guy, Xbox, and I bought Project Gotham Racing. Oh no, it was Metropolis Street Racing. I bought Halo, and I bought the fucking graffiti game. Christ, it's gone out of my head.
Oh, Jet Set Radio.
Jet Set Radio. Right? That was 20 years ago.
So what you're telling me is you bought 3 games and you played one of them for the next 6 years.
I played one of them for the next 20 years. That fucking Halo. Halo is amazing. Halo is amazing. I've read all the books. I've played all the games. I've finished all the games on Legendary except Infinite, because they put bosses into Infinite and I can't beat the bosses. Fucking worst
we have
design
massively,
ever.
We've gone massively off track.
We have. We were talking about
off track.
We were talking about the metaverse.
Yep. So as far as that, right? If anybody's got any ideas of what they think it is, please let us know, because I would like to go and check it out. But the last thing I wanted to talk about this evening, because honestly, my chest is so tight now that I'm sort of struggling to talk lots. But I do want to actually talk about Next Fest. And the reason I want to talk about it is not only are there some really interesting games in there, but it is showing that the VR side of it is being taken seriously by Valve.
Yes.
So you wanted to talk about Green Hell, so let's start with Green Hell.
I did. So Green Hell's been on my radar for quite a long time now because it's a kind of survival horror, RPG, MMO vibe type of game. It reminds me very much of a game that Crash and Surgical played quite a lot of, and that was The Forest,
which I recently played for the first time.
Yeah, I didn't like it for my own reasons, and it's got nothing to do with the game. Because basically what happened is I don't have enough time at the time. I didn't have enough time to put into the game, and then I was going into the game with Crash and Surgical, and they were like multiple levels above me, where I was just basically following them around. They would kill everything. If I tried to kill something, I would die. They'd revive me, but that's besides the point. So they really enjoyed The Forest. So I got a massive Forest vibe from Green Hell. And Steam Next Fest came along and I got a demo. And the demo is poor. I have to be honest. The frame rate is terrible. There's lots of pop-in. Picking things up is fiddly. But it's got massive potential. I don't know what the release date is, and that's my problem. Because if the release date...
There isn't one, is there?
No, there isn't. So if they've released this demo with the idea of releasing the game within the next month, I'm massively worried about that, because it's not even close to being a game that you could release without.
And it's been a while. Like, I've been following them on their journey for what, 8 months now ish.
I mean, I'm on the Discord.
And I haven't. Bear in mind, I haven't played the game. I haven't played the demo, and we'll go over why that is in a minute. But yeah, I am disappointed to hear a lot of people having problems.
I'm doing the cons first because, as you know me, I always like to finish on the positives. So I've been following Green Hell for about 8 months now on the Discord, and they put the, they have like a very active, they have a very active user base. So when the demo came out, I was like, yes, brilliant. And then the whole thing with the Facebook banning got in the way, not because the Steam demo was unavailable to me, but because I got distracted by the Facebook ban. So today I managed to spend a good hour and pop in, stutter, some problems with picking stuff up. But like, bearing in mind I was playing the sort of what the demo level would be, so it's trying to tell you how to do this and how to do that. It wasn't particularly interesting because I was using my radio and I was building a fire. But they're telling you how to do the basics, and it's not like Zenith where they don't tell you to do the basics. They just sort of expect you to be an MMO genius like you are and can explain to idiots like me who've never played MMOs. So I think what's going to happen is when the game releases, there's going to be a lot of criticism about the game because the first 2 hours are going to be boring as shit because they have to teach you the game. Right? You have to get your backpack out. You have to, if you're going to build a fire, you have to use X number of sticks. You have to use X number of big sticks. You have to go and find some kindling. You then have to find a way of lighting the fire. Right? That stuff is going to be boring as shit for the first 2 hours. But I think the game has a massive amount of potential. It's got problems, and if they're planning to release it within the next month, that's a mistake. I think it's 3 to 6 months off release. That's my honest opinion.
So Mr. Gamertag VR,
Yeah.
he did not have a good time, did he? I watched his review of the demo, and honestly, it was the reason why I haven't put the effort in to go and watch it myself or play it myself. Sorry, because there were other games that I wanted to try out instead. Like if this game had already been shown to me, I saw the problems he was having, and his setup isn't bad from what I understand. So there shouldn't have been much issues. Same with your setup. You've got a 2080 Super, if I'm correct.
2080 Ti, yeah. I think that's about the same as gamers, yeah. We're pretty similar spec.
It's not a bad setup, and several people in the chat, Odin, the Odious, and Rift Traveler, have both said they've got 3080 Ti's, and that they were experiencing stutter. But if you turned everything to low with texture set to high, that worked okay. Now, that's all very well and good, and if that's just small performance tweaks that they have to sort out, that's fine. But we're talking about 3080 Ti's here. We're not talking about cheap pieces of kit. We're talking about, what, 1,400 quid's worth of graphics card at this type of price point.
And the PC to plug it into.
And the PC to plug it into, and the headset to go on top of that. So the fact that we're talking of multiple thousands of pounds, dollars, yen, whatever the fuck it is you use as your exchange, if it's not running on that, it's not running on the damn Oculus Quest 2. And let's face it, that's their big market. PC VR is not the big market for Green Hell. The big market for it is going to be on the Oculus Quest 2.
You mean the 50% of Steam VR users that actually use a Quest 2? Or are you talking about the 10 million Quest 2 users who are expecting a AAA game?
They are expecting to have a better version of Song in the Smoke. They're looking for a more realistic version of Song in the Smoke.
My watch appears to be thinking I'm doing some exercise. Sorry.
I do make people feel like that quite a lot.
I'm going to say something really controversial here, and I did not, under any circumstances, like anything about Song in the Smoke. People wax lyrical about Song in the Smoke, and I played it. I put 5 hours into it, and I was just mystified and annoyed about it.
I really enjoyed myself in Song in the Smoke.
I didn't like it. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. Anyway, so that's a different thing. So if they right, so you are not going to get Green Hell running on a Quest 2 under any circumstances at all.
Not in its current state.
Ever. Right?
And more importantly, this is the thing. As Odin said, it is going to be a cut down version. I understand that. I'm not stupid to these kind of things.
No,
you know, when
absolutely.
You've got versions on the PC and versions on the Quest, there has to be a massive amount of changes to get that to running, because not only are you running on a completely different platform, so you're running on Android, Linux, compared to running on Windows, for instance. You've also got hardware limitations, especially when it pertains to RAM. That's probably the biggest actual hardware limitation, if I'm honest, more so than the graphical side of things.
So in those cases, all you have to do is look at Zenith running on a PC and Zenith running on the Quest. Right, so Zenith is a simplistically, graphically beautiful game. And there's no doubting that it's pretty. So the difference between the PC VR version and the Quest 2 version is that the Quest 2 version has a lot of problems dealing with the open spaces in Zenith. You get a lot of pop-in. But graphically, it doesn't particularly look that much different.
No. I would say that's about
right.
Right.
Green Hell on PC looks incredible if you don't move. It looks incredible. It does.
But once again, as Odin said, if you drop everything down to low and just have the high textures, then it should be fine. And Quest should be able to deal with that as well, as long as the texture packs aren't huge.
Right.
As in, we're getting to the point of like Medal of Honor levels of
Yeah.
sort of space at that point.
I think the problem that Green Hell is going to suffer with is there's no. It's like I get the feeling that it's an open world game, the same as Zenith, and it's going to be trying to draw a mountain that's a mile away, and it's not going to be able to do it. The same as it can't
and
in
the thing
Zenith.
is, you kind of need that, don't you? You do actually need that in an exploration game. You need to be able to see landmarks.
Yeah,
and if it can't draw the landmarks, that's not going to be a fun experience.
So is Green Hell too ambitious? Is it too early?
I don't think it's too ambitious. I do think it's too early. I think the thing is, I don't really know much about the guys that are actually porting it to VR. I don't know enough about them to say whether I have confidence in what they're doing.
I did read
and that's
who it
not
was.
an insult. And I'm really, if you're watching this at any point, guys, I am happy to speak to you. I don't know anything about porting games.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. I'm not a coder. I am a content creator, but I would love your take. I would love your guys' take on it, on how ambitious this is. Or if I'm just barking at the wrong tree, tell me that it's not ambitious. Tell me this is a simple process that's just taking a long time. That would be an interesting take on it, if, in my opinion.
Yeah, it. I did actually read who it was, and probably forgot. But I remember thinking that that they were. I knew who they were, and I didn't think it was a bad thing that they were doing it. That sounds so vague, doesn't it? Oh my god!
It is quite vague. I'm
Sorry,
not gonna lie.
I do. I saw the name of the studio that was doing the port, and I thought they are a competent crew because they've done this, and I've enjoyed that. So, yeah.
Okay, so I want to talk about some actual games that I did try on Steamfest, on Next Fest, sorry, that I genuinely think people should go and try. And I think they're the ones that people are probably going to ignore. And I think that is a huge, huge mistake because people like Mac, I think, need to try out. There is one on there that you need to try out because it is a back to the 80s.
You've had my pants down here because I've got no idea what you're about to talk about.
Yep. Okay. So the game I am about to talk about, first off, and it is I'm going to put these in order of how happy I am with these games. The first one is a game called Incoming. Incoming is Command in VR. Missile Command in VR.
Oh, no!
You are literally standing over the island, right? There is like an island over one side with like the Kremlin on it, for instance. Very politically apt today. And then you have another island where it's going to have cities on there. It's going to have missile command stations or Gatling gun stations. And you have to physically choose which of these you're going to use to defend against these incoming rockets. Now, in the original Missile Command from, I think it was the late 70s, early 80s, on things like the Amiga and the Amstrad, there would be these rockets that are coming down, and you would have to fire a rocket to intercept it, but you would have to time how long your rocket was going to take to get there to explode, create the explosion, and then engulf the incoming missiles. Now imagine that in a fully realized VR 3D space.
Sounds
it is very difficult. It's so difficult, but it looks so good. And they've added Gatling gun stations. So sometimes you'll use rockets, sometimes you'll use Gatling guns. And you can literally line them up on both your controllers. It is very early. You can tell that they've released this demo purely for Next Fest and that it wasn't ready at all. And I don't blame them for it because they need to get their name out there, and Next Fest is a great way to do that. But they've got, like, I think 5 different levels for you to try on there. They've got day levels, night levels.
Oh, is it demos?
And yeah, it's a demo. It's not a full game. This is just a demo on Next Fest. It's free for you to try. And it was so much fun. Like, you can tell straight away that you don't actually have hands or anything. You've got these 2 little Unity blocks that are just tracking where your trigger is, essentially. Yeah. And it's a great deal of fun. So that's my first one. Everyone should go try is a game called Incoming. It looks like you've got like a nuclear symbol there, and the little people that are running around are these weird little yellow people.
So who's the developer?
It's
Just so we
good
can
deal
give
of
them a
fun.
shout out. Can you?
I don't actually know. Hang on, I'm going to find it. I'm
Sorry,
going to go to the Steam.
I just pulled
How
your
do I-
pants down.
You did a little bit because honestly, I can't see where. Store page. There we go. I am going to it now. Super Science is the developer
Right, there you
and
go.
the publisher.
Okay, right. So go check that out. What's it called again?
It is called Incoming.
Incoming by.
And by Super Science.
There you go.
I think they are great. I think that is a one to watch out for this year.
Okay.
Because it was good fun. I really enjoyed myself. Although I think that might be a really early release of it, because I think they're actually planning release on the 18th of March in 3 weeks. So I hope that it is much further along than this demo suggests. But it looks pretty good while you're actually playing, but there are just little things that you expect in VR, like actual hands.
Creepy
to
Jar.
Make it look a
right.
little bit.
Sorry, Odin the Odious just said Creepy Jar did the flat version of Green Hell. And Creepy Jar did... oh my god, Creepy Jar did... Right, sorry. I'll have to have a look it up.
No, that's fine. Okay. So one of the thing that I will say, if any of the guys from Super Science are watching this, the one thing, and it's only one thing that actually bothered me about your demo, is that you couldn't use the left control stick in order to move around the map. You had to physically, it was like room scale. And because it's a small map, that doesn't seem like a big problem, but I would love to be able to sit down and still be able to play this. And I think a lot of people would agree with me on this. It's not something that they necessarily want to stand up for. So that would be my only criticism of that game in its current state, other than that it doesn't feel very finished. But yeah, that was a big one for me. I really enjoyed that. The next one, this one's going to be a much quicker one, is a game called Aluminium. And I say that again, Aluminium, not
aluminum, because we're English.
Because we are the Queen's English, sir.
Yeah.
This one, I downloaded on the offhand, but I didn't actually expect to play. And it was like 120 megabytes. Like, this game was freaking tiny. So I was just like, this is going to be absolute garbage. I was completely wrong. This game would never work in anywhere but VR. And the reason why it would never work anywhere but VR is because it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. You look at the videos for it, it looks bad. But you get in, and it is an arcade shooter as such. You've got guns all around you. They're all sort of pistols and things, and you grab two of them and you've got to fire downrange at these different things to get different points. And then when certain things come at you, you need to dodge out of the way. And when laser grids come, you need to reach down and pull up a shield, right? It's really, really simple. But you know what? It was actually fun. It was actually really fun. It doesn't look great. It's got a little bit of Tron vibe to it, and I think if they'd have lent more in that direction, it would have probably been better. But it was actually really fun. So when that comes out, I would consider buying it. It's probably not something I'm going to play all the time, but every now and again, it's something that's very easy to pick up. It doesn't take an age to load. It probably takes 10 seconds because it doesn't have much to load for. So yeah, that one's worth a look out. The demo it gives you access to one level on 3 different hardness difficulties, and it's just fun. Simple, pure, unadulterated fun. So that one's worth having a look at. The last one, I need to actually find what it was called, because this one actually blew me away. Come on, where are you? I've got too many things in my Steam list. That's my problem. Is it this one? Hyperhook demo. Hyperhook. Okay.
Hyperhook.
This one, once again, true to form of me going and downloading a load of demos that I thought were all going to look and feel garbage. This one is stylized. Okay. And there isn't a huge amount to do in it yet. But this one is essentially Spider-Man. And it's Spider-Man done really, really well. Okay. So, for those of you who have played Swarm, Did you play that one?
I did, yes.
Yep. So Swarm was like Spider-Man with guns, where you were trying not to fall to the ground. Okay.
Yeah.
This one, they haven't bothered with the ground. They've made it easy for you to swing around, and you don't have guns. In the demo, all you're doing is swinging around in what seems like the middle of the air, and there are things floating there. Like there are broken buildings, there are broken trees, there is like planes of glass that you can smash through, and you are just literally grappling onto things, swinging around, and trying to get that momentum going. And it feels phenomenal.
Oh,
And
cool.
for those of you who are not good with swinging mechanics because it makes you feel sick, you can actually change the speed of the game. So I had it at 100%. I had it at 70% to begin with because that's the standard, and it felt kind of good. And when I stuck it to 100%, I felt like an absolute boss. But I also tried dropping it down to 30%, and it was still kind of fun. I missed like the high octane side of it. But for those of you who have a lot of VR sickness, you could do that and actually enjoy this demo. So that's my number one pick of the demos that I tried from Next Fest in VR. 100% go and check that one out. I'm sure there was one more that I thought was worth people's look as another quick. I'm just going to quickly look through my Steam to see if I can find it, or I can see if I can remember what it was called. And if not, then
we move on to Pop 1.
No, I can't see it. Whatever it was, I can't even remember. It was fun. Whatever it was, I remember it being fun.
Okay.
Oh, that's really gonna annoy me.
We'll come back to it then. So Pop 1. What did you say to me at the beginning? What did you say to me before we started the stream?
I have gone back to playing Pop 1.
And I went back to playing Pop 1 last week with Surgical.
So here's the thing, right? I played Pop 1 a lot, and Mac played Pop 1 a lot.
A lot.
Nowhere near as much as Surgical, obviously.
So
that guy's a monster.
On Steam, I'm a level 26, but on Oculus, I'm a level 52. So I think if I'd have spent most of my time playing on Oculus, I think I would have been a 58 or a 59. But Surgical and Crash are golden PJ wankers. So, why did you go back to playing Population 1?
Okay, so here's the big reason. And if I'm being 100% honest, here's the big reason. I met one of my best friends in the world in Population 1. His name is Henry Van Leer. You'll have seen him in the chat earlier today.
I have.
He is a truly amazing guy. I met him through when I was streaming Pop 1 in April, May last year. And because that is the only VR game he really plays, although we are friends outside of VR and outside of gaming, like we visit each other in each other's real houses in the UK, it's difficult to keep up with each other. Whereas when we were playing Pop 1, we would be keeping up while we were waiting to kill people in game. And that's the biggest reason I went back, but that's not the reason I necessarily stayed. I've been genuinely enjoying myself because I was getting to a point where I was struggling to enjoy myself because we weren't finding a consistent third, and I was getting a bit too competitive for my own good, I think.
Yeah, and you have you have said to me in the past that, like, I can go play a game and enjoy it, but you have to win.
Yeah, and this is it. And the thing is the same with when I was playing professionally, or at least semi-professionally, for Magic the Gathering and things. I was making money off of that, and I was doing well in it, but it got to a point where if I wasn't winning, I was so depressed about that it was killing my life. And once I stepped away, let it settle down and went back to it, I had such much better time. And this is exactly what's happened with me in Population 1. I've stepped away from it. I've gone back with a friend, and I am actually loving it again.
Yeah.
Partly because of the event that's been happening recently, and I have a real thing for going and love letters.
Right, so my experience was like my original experience with Population One was with Face and Surgical. Like they're my two best friends. Face
Team Tryhard.
Yeah, Team Tryhard. Face is a guy that I've known for years through Airsoft, and Surgical was a guy that I just met randomly through Population One. But like you've said with Henry, he's like, I mean, he rang me today to ask me how I was because he knew I was upset about getting banned from Facebook.
Yeah.
That's not like somebody that you know on the internet. That's a friend of yours. You know, I've never met him. I've probably spent more time with him than I have with my wife in the past year. That's kind of worrying. That's kind of worrying because he's a big guy and I'm a bit worried.
Whatever floats your boat, Mac. It's, as long as you're a happy man.
As long as you're happy, man. I played Population One with Surge last week, and I was crap, but I really enjoyed myself because like Crash was there and it was good. So we're gonna play next week. I mean, I can't play with Face because he's got like 600 children. He's like the fucking old woman who lives in a shoe. You know what I mean? He's got like 600 fucking kids. So he's like, I'm trying to control my children. He like, play video games. I can't control my children. They're like stealing and pickpocketing and got to pick a pocket or two. So that's what Face's life is like at the moment. I'm not saying that Face's kids are out going pickpocketing because they're not. They're all good kids.
That we know
and,
of.
and I'm sure that his infant son isn't doing any pickpocketing. But so Team Tryhard's kind of been put to one side at the moment because of the way that Face is. But yeah, I'm going to go back and play some Population One on Monday with Surge, and I'm really looking forward to it actually because, like, even though I suck now, but like you have your first 3 or 4 games and you are terrible, and then you get into and that's the great thing about Population One. It's a practice thing. You get into the 5, and then you all of a sudden. You're like, there's a guy in front of you. Yeah, don't worry about it. He's dead. Yeah, moving on. Grenade. Right, I'm out. He's in. Bang. He's dead. Right. Okay. What's left? Was that a team wipe? Right. Let's go. And that's
all of a sudden you do something awesome, don't you? All of a sudden you do something
and I'm never recording it. Right. Every single time that Surgical does something amazing, I'm recording. Every single time I do something amazing, I forgot to fucking turn OBS on.
We had a game this week, I think, where it was like 4,500 damage, 17 or 18 kills, and 11. Like, it was a truly phenomenal game.
It was a crushing.
Didn't record it.
Yeah.
Didn't record it.
Of course you didn't, because you're an idiot.
Exactly. But yeah, like, I genuinely would love to get... Serge has organised, he used to do, I'm not sure if he still does, like a Population One Sunday night.
Yeah, he does.
Private room, which
he
really
still does
good.
it. Yeah, he still does it. Yeah.
We should get the Rekin Krew as part of that and do a Rekin night. I would love that. Do a private room, do some games. If anyone's interested, let us know. We will organise it somehow. Hopefully, Serge, being probably the most useful person to actually help us with that, if he wouldn't mind.
And being a golden PJ
I will try
wanker.
and figure that shit out, but.
Because it turns out that I'm off on Sunday. It turns out I'm off on every Sunday.
I am hoping that the Wi-Fi at the hotel that I'm having to go to Sunday night is good.
No.
I'm going to take my headset.
No, because then you're going to be at work for 6 days and you're going to be working when you're not at work for 6 days as well, and you'll be fucked. But you have a good time.
I'm still going to play. The annoying thing is that, unfortunately, going back to my friend Henry, he doesn't actually own his headset. His headset is owned by his company,
Oculus,
and they are taking it back from him. So he is going to be VR-less for a while.
No.
Yeah, that's gonna suck.
So what was he playing on?
On a Quest 2.
I'll send him mine because it's fucking bricked. It's no good fucking good to me. There's nothing I can do with it. I'm only joking, Henry. I'm not going to send you my Quest 2 because it's fucking 400 quid and I might get it back eventually.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing I was going to say, and I think a good way to wrap it up, actually, for tonight, is there is currently the Virtual Athletics League Winter Games, which I mentioned on the last podcast we did.
Yes.
That is currently happening, but even if you're not interested in actually competing, if you go to the Virtual Athletics League Winter Games website, which I think is onearena.gg through their system, they have multiple different tournaments that are on, but for nearly every single one, there is a Gleam.io contest where it's one of those nice simple ones where you just go to this website, retweet this, and you can gain a load. And there are I think there are 18 different different contests for 18 separate Quest 2s.
Henry!
Giving away.
Get on iOS, mate. Dude, you'll get yourself a free headset.
Go and check it out. They are giving away a load of stuff, and they're really good to play with. I'm joining in with them for the new update to Creed Rise to Glory, because they've had a recent update for their endurance session. So I'm joining with them to do that.
You do know you have a bad chest.
I do have a bad chest, which is why it's next week and not this week.
Oh God.
But yeah,
are we wrapping?
Yeah, I think we need to wrap. I think I'm going to struggle to speak anymore for the rest of the evening.
Okay, I'm spamming my Teespring account. Right, there you go. That's it. Merch shelf. Go and buy some t-shirts. There will be a Rekin Krew t-shirt, but we got to do some stuff together to do that because I've got ideas, you got ideas, and we know what the Rekin Krew is going to be. Hopefully my account will get reset sometime this week and I can do some Zenith live streams because we really enjoyed that live stream we did on Monday. That was amazing. Just before I got banned. Fuck, maybe I said something on the live stream I didn't realise.
Not that I remember. But possibly. Oh no, we have been talking a lot about Facebook and Meta just on the whole over the past month.
But you've got to understand, I don't so this, if you're a company that's driving VR, I love it. I disagree with a lot of things that Meta are doing. I disagree with a lot of things that Meta are doing, but I'm enamored with the fact that fucking Zuckerberg is doing something where he knows that this is 10 years away, and that's a huge financial gamble, mind. Fucking huge, considering the size of his company and the fact that Facebook is declining. So I think they realise what's going on and they are moving into this sort of Horizon metaverse as the next Facebook. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
But you have to take the restrictions away from people. You have to take all of the restrictions away from people. You cannot ban somebody randomly who hasn't done anything wrong. If I was a Nazi or some left-wing, right-wing fucking evangelist who was promoting misogyny, racism, or any kind of religious hatred, then yes, I can understand being removed from a social media platform. But I'm a YouTube content creator. I am very aware of my social media aura, whatever. But my Facebook account is about me and my wife and my dog. So how do you get banned from that? By posting pictures of your dog and my wife and me in North Yorkshire walking the hills. It seems crazy. So
what something to be noted here is that it cannot come quick enough that they separate Facebook and Oculus.
Yes.
It cannot come quick enough where
And
they remove your personal shit from your Oculus shit.
yeah,
it needs to happen.
And right, in the balance of fairness, again, Andrew Bosworth, the head of Meta Reality Labs, has said that this is going to happen in the early part of 2022. So they've realised they've made a fucking massive mistake, and they are going to reverse that decision that they've made. And apparently, if you approach Oculus support and say, I want to unlink my Oculus account from my Facebook account, they will do it for you. Unfortunately, I didn't realise. So
this is the thing, though, for people who want to stream directly from their Oculus to Facebook, is that going to have ramifications as well, though? Exactly, you just don't know, do you? Like,
you don't know.
It's going to end up as a double-edged sword.
Right.
Where
so
one way is good, one way is bad.
I don't know whether you have a business linked to your Facebook account. Do you have a Facebook? Wait, you must have a Facebook account. I actually have a business linked to my Facebook account, and it's like my Mac in VR, and it's something I've had for a long time, and something I was thinking about building. Obviously, once I've retired and I've got more time to spend doing other things rather than going to work and putting fires out, was to build my Facebook account, was to build my Twitter account, was to look at TikTok, like you said, to move into like kind of YouTube shorts, do the YouTube shorts, put them on TikTok, blah, blah, blah. So how can your business be linked to your Facebook account, and then your Facebook account could get hacked, and then all of a sudden you've lost that business? Because at the moment I can't contact or access Mac in VR on Facebook, and I've boosted ads on there. I've done things that have actually made videos that I've made. They've increased my visibility like massively. Like one of the videos I made on YouTube, I actually boosted it on Facebook to see what would happen, and it went fucking like that. And that made the money back that I put into the ad quite quickly. It made it back within like 2 or 3 days. And I was like, oh, right, okay, this is something I need to be aware of. So how can my social media account ban me from my business account and ban me from my main source of business, which is my Oculus Quest 2? Sorry, I know we've gone back to this subject again.
It's an upsetting subject, man. At the end of the day, like, there is so many different problems with everybody is treating it like its own mini metaverse, and has been without realizing it for ages. You have a Facebook account that is you, and then you set up a business through it, and that feels like a separate page, but it's all one login. And then you set up another page, but that's all one login.
And then you buy an Oculus Quest headset.
Yeah, and then you buy an Oculus Quest headset because you're getting into VR. And once again, that is all part and parcel of the same login. And eventually something like this happens where, I don't know, maybe you said the word fuck too many times. Maybe you said that Meta are a bunch of actual cockwombles too many times. I'm not saying that Max said that. I'm not saying that I've said that. You're a bunch of cockwombles. But then they ban your accounts. And that sucks, man.
It does. Right, so that thing about the cockwombles, that's a massively valid point. Because if Oculus and Meta make a fucking mistake, I will point that mistake out. If there's something I disagree with, I will say, right, I disagree with that. I understand why you've done it. I understand why they put a Facebook login for all of the new Quest 2 owners. I understand that because they're selling that headset at a loss and they need to make their money back. Right? That's the simple financial reason that they did it. Right? I disagree with it. I fundamentally disagree with it because I think the more you could get selling a headset for a loss, you can get more value by selling games than you can by selling data.
Yeah, but that is, like, at the end of the day, that is their business model, isn't it? Their business model realistically isn't even a social media platform. Their business model is data selling, and that is what you buy in. That's the legal terms that you agree to when you sign up.
When you buy, you said buy in. You don't buy in. It's free. It's free. The only thing you buy into is buying the headset and buying the ecosystem and buying the games.
I was talking about just the Facebook account.
Yeah. Sorry, I understand.
Rather than anything else, just the Facebook account.
But when there's no such thing as a free lunch, and this week has made me realize more than anything else that sentence is absolutely true. There is no such thing as a free lunch. If you got a virtual reality if you get a virtual headset, a VR headset for £300 that costs more than £300 to make, that is not a free lunch. You have to pay for it in some way.
What Rift Traveler just said is perfect, actually, for this. If a product is free, you are the product.
Exactly.
I don't think you could have said it anything better. I think that is the perfect place to leave it.
I think we're going to close it down right there.
Are we actually going to close it down tonight, Mac? Are we actually going to do this?
I've been practicing, right? What I do is I go, good night. Then they go to end stream and it says, do you want to end the stream? And I say to you, the stream is about to end. Anything you want to say? And you say, I love all of my fans. We love everybody that's been commenting. This has been an amazing stream. And I go, right, bang, right. So I'm going to end the stream. Now.
This has been a very good
stream.
Chat.
Yeah, it's been wonderful.
Everything has been very, very good. I've enjoyed talking about the next fest. I have not enjoyed talking about meta because it's a sore subject at the moment and probably always will be. But on the whole, guys, you've been all awesome. It's been great seeing all of you. We've had tons of people chatting. I cannot wait to try out Neos with Skiva. I cannot wait to do some more Pop 1 with Surge. Guys, it's been awesome. Mac?
It has been the best stream we've ever done. Apart from the 3 minutes where nobody could hear us.
20 minutes, but yeah, let's go.
No, it was 3 minutes. It was 1903.
Oh, today. I thought you meant the other week.
No.
Today.
No, today there was 1903. So we've learned, we've moved forward, and we've had a good conversation. We've had plenty of interaction. I'm retired, and 2 days into my retirement, Facebook fucked me up the arse with something akin to a knotty prop. So, next podcast is going to be interesting because then we'll know what the outcome of this is. Hopefully it'll be a positive outcome on my part. But it's been a pleasure, my big beardy friend.
It always is.
Gorgeous as ever. And the podcast is done.
Good night, people.